Welcome to Urban Legends with your hosts, Smartwatch, Neil and Chris, Nanobots. Bluetooth speaker.
Hello and welcome to this week's Urban Legend, the internet podcast about urban legends and myths and tales and that kind of thing. We are the internet's biggest urban legend website. Oh, it's gone bad, isn't it? Podcast, at least on volume. I mean,
we might be. We might be the biggest website. I don't know.
We might be both.
There is a website on Acast, isn't there? So who knows?
There is, yeah, that's true. So
I've been tracking that number. I mean, it'd be weird if the numbers for that were through the roof and then the podcast wasn't going as well as we like it.
Well, yeah. I did the specific brief that I gave the web designers was to make the podcast seem off-putting. So, yeah. I mean, they've fulfilled their brief, really, haven't they?
The thing is, listeners, you could, waste an hour of your time just listening to all of this. You just go and read the summary. It's probably get about your day a bit quicker, really.
Yeah, it's a lot quicker, and the summary is often funnier than the actual content.
Yeah, you get a couple of laughs out of that, which
a little chuckle. Move on.
Get 3 out of the hour, so you take a hit.
Yeah, so I should introduce us. I am the third most popular Minecraft YouTuber, Chris Flynn, and with me, the other voice which you heard is hedge fund whiz kid. He's only 12 years old. It is Mr.
Neil Herbert.
Hi Neil, hi Neil. How are the hedge funds?
Yeah, very funny. My voice literally just broke this weekend. So,
oh, really?
None of that fun.
You're becoming a man.
They're dangling now.
Oh, hey! None of that talk on that. You're not in your hedge fund office now with all your toxic masculinity.
Oh yeah, that's what goes down there.
So when did you start doing hedge funding, like a sort of Doogie House refinance?
Yeah, well, I think just really ahead of the pack, really, because obviously, my mother and father,
God rest their soul.
They grew up quite sort of poor. They only had like about 300 million and a couple of emerald mines in the bank. So, so I wasn't able to get much of a leg up into the.
Were these apartheid era emerald mines?
I mean, ask me no questions, I'll tell you no lies.
Okay, move on.
Moving swiftly on. No, so just like with a little bit of a fun in there. So yeah, and I've always been interested in sort of making money.
Did you learn the ropes using microtransactions in computer games?
Well, no, I used to sort of like early on. I used to be able to sort of design the microtransactions. That was one of the things the family got into as well. Because you do a venture capital as well. So I really enjoyed like trying to engineer systems where you could sort of like get money out of people with less money than me. Give it to me.
Did you design a McDonald's in Second Life or something, and then sold it to McDonald's because they thought the Second Life was going to be a really big thing?
Yeah, there's a few of those, weren't there? McDonald's did that Lindt chocolate store that I can't remember which one that went in there. It was in some virtual reality metaverse. Yeah, we designed the legs for Mark Zuckerberg's Meta. Yeah,
you did. You did a Woolworths, of course, which Woolworths bought, which actually bankrupted them.
Yeah, that actually bankrupted them. But I made 300 mil out of that deal. So.
Oh, nice! And then so you took all that money and started up a hedge fund at the age of 10? Was it?
Yeah, it was just got into double figures. I think there was some. Well, I tried to apply when I was 9.5, but there was some legal impediments. But no, the age of 10, there was decent lawyers under my.
That was the only law that they had, was it?
Yeah.
So I hear that's actually been rescinded recently as well.
Yeah. Thanks to some lobbying, some friendly parliamentarians who managed to get them on swept off the book.
Nice.
That's a bit of that EU red tape that we want to rid of.
Did you? Well, there's quite a lot of lobbying in Brussels as well, to be fair.
Well, yes, this is true. Yeah.
So
politics in general.
So, what kind of area do you focus in, or do you not? Are you kind of like an angel investor, or do you focus on commodities, futures, natural gas?
Well, I'm very much one of those kind of effective altruists. So I decided I want to make as much money as quickly as possible.
So it's a Ponzi scheme.
I mean, that's a very cynical way to put it. I mean, just because I haven't decided where I'm going to distribute my charitable endeavours yet, I don't think there's any reason to take that time.
It's just resting in the Cayman Islands, yeah?
Yeah, well, I've earned it. Well,
Yeah.
I say earned.
Well, sort of. You're a good salesman, I'll give you that.
Well, yeah, Wolf of Wall Street's got nothing on me. And, they always think they can outsmart a kid, so...
Oh, yeah, nice. So you're very sort of... Do you consider it to be very much like your Macaulay Culkin and they're the two robbers? Like the banking establishment are like the two robbers in Home Alone, and you're like Macaulay Culkin, like running rings around them. Is that the kind of image that you're going for?
I mean, it'll work.
Yeah. Will work. So
I could buy that whole street.
So yeah, that was the thing, wasn't it? Because like I remember someone talking about this kind of when people in Britain sort of saw stuff like Home Alone, like they were meant to be kind of like a working class family, and they lived in like a mansion compared to like what we live in the UK.
Well, I think they generally just do have bigger homes in the US.
Yeah,
there's
they
more
do.
Land, isn't there? But especially depending on where you live, I guess. If you're in like an apartment in New York or something, I imagine that's pretty cramped for space. But if you're kind of like
in the suburbs,
yeah, you probably have a bigger place. Nice, about 20 American flags on the.
Well, your parents live in the suburbs, don't they? Technically, the suburbs of Portslade. Is their house very much like that? I've not seen it.
No, it's kind of like under terrace. 3-bedroom.
Nice.
One reasonably small.
Box room.
Yeah. Well, pretty small ones. It's sort of 2.5 really, but it's all right size, not massive.
And so that's what drove you on to the financial world.
Oh yeah, I just forgot they're both in a hedge fund. They just thought it was funny. It'd be like living in an Edwardian village or something. Or, living like they're a bit like the lyric to Common People. They just they wanted to see how the other half live.
And I hate it, don't they?
How the 99.9% live. Oh yeah. I mean,
So is there any? If I had £1,000 to invest, where would you suggest I do it?
Oh, you just want to put that into my. Well, probably I think the latest one I've just started getting into is I've been moving into religion.
Religion.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know if you've heard of prosperity gospel, Chris.
I have heard of the prosperity gospel.
Yeah,
sounds good.
If you give me that £1,000 and pray hard, I can guarantee, not guarantee, that you'll see at least a 100-fold investment.
Really?
Yeah. So I'd send that to me. And, get involved in the prosperity.
So the better
on the ground floor on this.
So the better that you do, then the more heaven I get. Is that it?
Yes. Well, both earthly and heavenly rewards will be yours for taking.
I'm not seeing a lot of. So I'm seeing a lot of prosperity gospel stuff in Nigeria, and I'm not seeing a huge increase in living standards for the people who go to the churches.
You've got to take a long-term view with any investment, Chris.
How long would this be?
I would say as well, if you actually read the New Testament, the trickle-down economics is explained very well by Jesus there.
Is it as long-term that you will definitely see it 1 year after you pass away? Is that...
Again, I think you're just taking a very cynical view of it. I mean,
hey man,
maybe it's just your immense financial ignorance that you.
It could be my ignorance. Yeah, I've become very wary of the financial industry since it constantly makes things worse for everyone, and then gets bailed out by taxpayers.
Look, just when we're done lining our own pockets, I promise you there'll be plenty to go round. We've just got to grow the size of the pie.
My favourite bit was when we did quantitative easing, and so they gave the Bank of England gave the banks loads of money so that they would start lending again to get the economy going. But instead of that, they didn't start lending again, and they just used the money from quantitative easing to pay shareholders.
Yeah.
Hey. At least look me in the face when you're fucking me. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, yeah. Well, we could do a whole other podcast on financial institutions.
If we knew anything about finance, which you do and I don't.
Yeah,
Well, you do.
Well, pretend me does, but yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks for that, Neil. That was very informative.
Well, you're welcome. So, what got you into Minecraft? So you're doing quite well.
I'm doing very well.
Popular.
I call myself.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, third most popular. Because of my builds. So I was really into Lego and stuff when I was a kid.
Okay.
But I've got very delicate hands, and also, as an adult going into the Lego shop,
those sharp edges hurt your fingies, don't
they? Yeah, hurt my fingies. You end up treading on Lego. Ooh.
Oh yeah, that's no, that's not pleasant. Not as bad as a 3-pin plug.
Not as bad as a 3-pin
floor in that great British design, but
you
ever done that? Tread on a plug?
Yeah,
when it's like.
Yeah, I pay to do that sometimes, Neil.
Oh yeah, no, sorry.
Know what I'm saying? It's one of the many ways I get my kicks.
Yeah.
And also, I was, when Minecraft came out, I'd had something missing in my life for a long time. That sort of creativity, but within very strict rules. And you can't go down to the Lego shop if you're hungover 28-year-old, can you? Because
you can, but it causes a bit of a scene quite often.
It causes a scene. And then Minecraft came out, so I could sort of fulfill those.
Or in the privacy of your own home.
In the privacy of my own boudoir. So I started doing that.
That's a thing now, hasn't it, with Lego? Because you've got all of these, I assume people aren't buying them for kids, but you'll get, a Ghostbusters fire station or... the Bridge Tower of London or whatever.
You get very specific ones, which are
£300 or something. Yeah,
and they're kind of like just model making kits rather than sort of what I thought the idea of Lego was, which is yes, you can make this out of it, but then you do what you want.
Creativity rather than just
No, they got rid of that.
Yeah.
Apparently, there was a government mandate that came down and said it was causing too many creators in the workforce. So,
they don't earn enough money, and then they start having ideas about how things should be. So,
exactly,
you want to moderate that really if you can.
We need more worker bees. That's what they said. So, yes, so they've got very prescriptive models now. But I think you can still, finally. But so moved to Minecraft and. I just do lots of really big builds on there.
Generally fairly phallic?
Some of them are quite phallic. I recently,
don't know why I pronounced it that way.
Because I don't know if you saw the drawings, but in World War II, like the Nazis and Hitler and that, they had
where this is going.
They had an idea of how they wanted like Berlin to look. They were going to rebuild it all. So
I can imagine that wasn't in any way horrifying and awful.
It was quite grand. And so I built that. And I tell you what, that got me a lot of new followers. Actually, I think that's what actually boosted me up.
Recreating Nazi era Germany in Minecraft. Then it
wasn't the only. I've kind of before that I was rebuilding stuff like sort of archaeological sites like Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, and what's the one in Cambodia, the massive one?
Oh, Angkor Wat, is it?
Yeah, Angkor Wat.
The big temple. If that's
it's the biggest in the world. Like if you actually look at the footprint, so I redid that as it would have been at the time, and all that kind of stuff. It's going well. I'd get quite a lot of likes and stuff, but it wasn't until I did New Berlin that it really took off. Really, so
that to resonate with some of
some of the YouTubers. I don't know. I don't really look through my own comments because I think that's actually there be dragons. But
to be fair, that could be on anything.
Yeah,
I'm wondering sort of future Berlin as well from the 40s, because every parallel dimension that went into the bad place that I've seen, there's always Zeppelins. So do they have a lot of Zeppelins and stuff there, or whatever you call them, or dirigibles? I think is what's the flying kind of.
The Zeppelins are a type of dirigible, like a Hoover is a type of vacuum cleaner.
Yes, yeah. Was that a brand then, Zeppelin? I can't remember.
Yeah, it was it was a brand. Yeah, you go down your local dirigible shop and you go, got any Zeppelins in?
Yeah, you go, down the dirigible quarter.
No, we've only got Hindenburgs.
I don't want one of those.
I'll leave it. I'll come back.
Well, with my smoking habit, not likely.
Yeah, you got to be joking.
Oh, humanity. There we go. Hindenburg jokes.
Lovely.
Too soon.
Too soon.
Who knows?
Too soon. New Berlin jokes. Too soon. Yeah. So I've obviously put dirigibles in there with big crosses on them, iron crosses, because I still think that dirigibles are the future of long distance mass transport.
Oh, it's the most comfortable way to get from A to B, isn't it?
Hey,
quite long-winded, but
hey, look, if you're not in a rush, Neil, life's about the journey. Yeah, it's not about the getting there.
It wants to be cooped up in some metal tube when you can be having like a lovely.
You could be hung in a metal tube underneath a big balloon.
Yeah, but you can have like the big old dining suites and all that business in there, can't you? Big thing dangling from it.
Do you think they're going to come back in a big way? Because I know that people keep trying, or there's lots of people developing them.
Too slow. I think it'd be one of those things. You could do
Sky Cruise.
Because I don't know what's the distance you can go on those as well. Because if you go like across the
ocean, on it, yeah.
No, I don't think. I think that would only be for like luxury travel, and like even Concords doesn't exist anymore, does it? I think like people aren't prepared to pay those kind of prices, because that's actually where the money goes. I was reading about this. Apparently, like economy on the seats of an airplane, actually where they make most of their money is with first class and all the rest of it, and then just jam everyone else into the tube as much as possible, just to make a bit more money. But actually, the majority of where they actually get a profit is from the sort of like first class.
Well, Concorde went because of its safety record primarily.
Yeah, but you'd think you could. I mean,
you would think that they would have replaced
20, 30 years old, wasn't it? So you think you could bring that up to date.
Well, I'm surprised. I am surprised no one has, because
that was really, wasn't it? Because the planes were falling apart because they'd been.
Well, it's London to New York in about 4 hours, wasn't it?
Yeah, and they weren't primarily unsafe. As a thing, it wasn't like they were blowing up in the sky or something. It was just towards the end, I think, because they were so old. But I think I seem to remember Virgin or Branson bought a couple of them or something like that. But
wonderful. He'll probably put that as a write down on his.
That's probably how he's Rocky going into
on his now bankrupt Virgin Galactic. They're filed for bankruptcy.
Has that gone under? Yeah.
Yeah.
I know Bezos took Shatner up in his one, but again, I don't know if that's close to becoming a commercial prospect or whatever. But it doesn't matter because Bezos can just fucking throw that kind of money.
Well, he's just doing it for himself, isn't he?
Well, I might as well.
So, right. Well, that's that then. Like, let's move on.
Let's pay. Yeah, we'd mind that for whatever it was worth. That wasn't a pun intended, but there we go.
Yes. So, what are we talking about today, then, Sunshine?
We're talking about right. We are going to talk about the Niles Canyon ghost story.
The Niles Canyon.
Niles Canyon.
Niles Canyon.
Yeah.
Wasn't he a bassist?
There's a rhythm guitarist, isn't there? But
not Niles Canyon.
No, not Niles Canyon. I forget his name now. What's his
Miles Davis, isn't it?
No, they got
Noel Williams.
No, yeah. Anyway, that's completely irrelevant.
Sheikah playing this summer at Stanmer Park.
Are they? Is it the original lineup? Like with the
I don't know, mate.
Niles Rodgers and I can't remember.
Noel Rodgers is in
it's Niles Rodgers. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Yeah, that'd be good to see him live, actually. Okay. We'll see if they still pick it. I wouldn't mind seeing Niles Rodgers. Yeah.
Another one to tick off the list before the dead.
Well, I kind of didn't want to say that, but that kind of. I mean, I think he looks in good health.
He's all right. Yeah, Noel Rodgers has got a good few years in him.
You would imagine so.
He had his crazy cocaine phase in the early 80s, and then sort of been very
70s as well. But
it's been very clean living since then.
Yeah, no, looked in good nick last time I saw him. I think he was kind of was he doing the Queen's Jubilee or some nonsense a few years back. Anyway, He done lots.
So Nile Rodgers.
This isn't the Niles Rodgers podcast. It's the Niles Canyon ghost story. So this is there's a few articles on this, Chris. So that's all the hopeful start. But I'm gonna take. It's just one of the many things called Niles, apparently, from a website called Costa Rican Times.
Costa Rica.
Yeah.
Nice. I think it's Costa Rica. Well, it's a nice biodiverse country, and I believe it's the only country on Earth without an army.
Is that so?
Yeah.
Good for them.
They're just going to chuck sloths at people if they try and invade with their big claws.
Yeah, or just kind of like, charm the invaders and then sort of like just send them off back home.
With some lovely calypso.
Yeah. Just chill out, guys. It's so angry. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Anyway, this is from Costa Rica Times, but it's not actually based in Costa Rica. This is the ghost stories in Northern California.
All right. Why Costa Rica? on that?
I'm reading the Costa Rican Times. Well, I'm giving them a shout out as we always do for the website, but I'm not quite sure. They've done like a whole load of just like urban legend stuff. Actually, let's look at the Costa Rican Times. Ghost hunting and exploring haunted Niles Canyon. So for some reason, the Costa Rican Times decided to do a load of ghost stories about North America. I can't fathom that. There's a bunch of stuff in there about cannibals in the woods and Bigfoot and.
Well, I guess if you don't have to put stuff in about sort of protests and army and all that kind of stuff, you've got copy to fill, haven't you? So
yeah, you got those. I think there's some stuff around. Apparently, so there's an area called Niles Canyon where they were at the time of this article. They were doing this is from 2010, written by Paul Dale Roberts. Give him a shout out as well. And I think it's a nursing student went missing, and they were sort of hunting around, but then they sort of. The angle they decided to take with that story is to go, and actually, did you know there's lots of urban legends around this? And there's Sasquatches and Bigfoots and cannibals and Satanists and serial killers. I mean, maybe we'll get into the general area a bit more someday, but for now, I'm just going to talk about the Niles Canyon ghost, which is, I assume it's near to that area as well.
And we're taking the Costa Rican view on the Niles Canyon ghost.
We are initially. I've got there's a few different stories on here. So
no, I like it.
Yeah,
I like it.
And then we've got some sort of personal involvement.
So we're taking the British view on the Costa Rican view on an American legend.
To start off with,
Perfect.
Yeah. Why not? Let's make it convoluted. So the Niles Canyon ghost, aka the prom dress hitchhiker. The Niles Canyon ghost story is the Northern California variation on the vanishing hitchhiker archetype. So we've kind of covered that one before. I think
we have.
We could do a podcast just on vanishing hitchhikers and had a couple of examples. But
we did, yeah.
We've sort of, but we haven't covered this specific story.
No.
There's a few different angles to it. So there are many different variations of the story, depending on who you ask. All stories include a girl being involved in some sort of motorised vehicle accident on February 26th. The year often changes. For some, confusingly, Wikipedia seems to think it's February the 28th, but all of the other things I've read seem to say February 26th. So there you go.
All right.
So, one variation of the story includes a girl being involved in a car crash on Niles Canyon Road off the 680 freeway in Sonoma, California, on the way to her prom. The girl dies on impact, and to this day is said to haunt Niles Canyon Road every February the 26th.
But first off, why is this girl hitchhiking away to prom? From what I understand from movies and TV, you have like someone comes to your house with a corsage, and then the dad goes, "Get it home by 10 and no funny business," or whatever, and then goes, "Haha, I'm only joking," to the nervous teenage boy.
Yeah.
And then he stands at the bottom of the stairs.
Got to bust his balls.
Yeah, got bust his balls. And then he stands at the bottom of the stairs with the corsage, which gets put in the fridge for some reason. Keep it fresh for later. And then she comes down the stairs and she looks really beautiful, which is weird.
Because she's put her hair down and taken her glasses off, hasn't she?
Yeah, before that, she had her hair up and she had glasses on.
Well.
And probably braces, which she's had removed.
The quarterback's never going to ask you to prom if you do that, are they? We'll start reading books and stuff.
Well, no, I wouldn't. This isn't the quarterback that's turned up. It's like her it's the guy that's probably in the friend zone. And definitely is now that she's realise that she's attractive.
Yeah.
And then they get pictures taken, and then he puts the corsage on, and then they get a limo. Right.
Yeah,
So what's she doing hitchhiking?
Well, I don't say so. I don't know if she's hitchhiking on that day or she's hitchhiking after death.
Right.
Because there was, so
why's she getting hit? Why's she getting hit by cars? If she's
the limo might have gone off the road, mightn't it? She was fiddling with her corsage and it distracted the driver. Or maybe he's driving. Maybe he's driving the car. I don't know if this is a rented limo or he's driving it himself.
Well, you don't drive your own.
He was in the friend zone. He decided to do a bit in the sky and plough off the cliff or something. Or
maybe they were doing like a really life-affirming thing where they went out of the sunroof of the limo to go woo, but she got brained by a tree. Maybe.
Yeah, could be.
And he was like, "Well, it's a shame, but I just found out I was in the friend zone, so I'm going. I'm going stag.
I bought that ticket to prom. I'm not going. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a shame, but it's good money after good money after bad, otherwise, isn't it?
Well, you're going to just what are you going to do? These are all potential ways that may have happened. Well. And let's face it, the likelihood is that none of it ever happened.
You have to speculate to accumulate knowledge.
Yeah, but I must confess, Chris, I cannot explain why it may differ slightly from some stereotypical high school movies that you've seen.
Right.
But I'm sure they're extremely realistic. I would imagine that, like Ferris Bueller's Day Off, is pretty much a documentary as to how high school works.
That's a Louis Theroux thing, wouldn't it? So the through line at the moment is it's a prom girl ghost.
All we know is there's a girl on a prom night has apparently died on the road somewhere. No. I'm not sure how. There's been some sort of car crash.
Was it on Dead Man's Curve while two guys who had spiked the punch were having a drag race or playing chicken against each other?
Yeah, both. There was a drag race in one direction, and then they were playing chicken in the other.
Right.
Because he didn't realise. He's like, "Oh, bet you won't play chicken with that one." He didn't realise that they were doing a drag race.
And was it to see
chaos ensued?
Was it before
James Dean died? Wasn't it?
Was it before they went to Inspiration Point for some heavy petting?
Played chicken with a wall, unfortunately. Well, yeah,
That's what's happened. I've got it. Figured it all out.
Go on.
So after the prom, her prom date and her went to Inspiration Point. He got too heavy-handed, like trying to get to third base or whatever. Yeah. She got out of the car and went, "No, I'll walk." And he went, "Oh God, why are you such an uptight bitch?" or whatever. And then so she went to try and hitchhike and got hit by a car. I'm pretty sure I've seen that in something. I'm pretty sure that's a story I've seen. Maybe this is where it's come from, like the story that I've seen it in a TV show or something.
Yeah, I'm not sure how she dies. And this is back in the 40s, so it would have been a bit more. I don't know. I mean,
So that's what's happened. Right,
okay,
continue. I filled in the blanks.
Let's take that as fact. Anyway, so the tale of the haunting then is people are travelling along Niles Canyon Road on the night of February 26th. We'll see a normal-looking high school-age girl walking along the road in a prom dress, and many people said it's white.
Is she crying?
Doesn't say.
Probably.
So people travelling along the road, mostly those travelling alone, have said to have stopped and offered the girl a ride. She accepts the ride, giving the driver an address across the bridge, either Dumbarton or Bay Bridge, depending on the storyteller.
Okay.
Yeah, and then once they get to the beginning of the bridge, the girl disappears.
Huh?
So,
it's all right, isn't it?
Yeah. Fair enough. Guess you didn't want to lift.
Yeah, fair enough.
This is kind of like the opposite of the what was the bandage guy that we were where he just like try and hitch a ride with you, just clamber on the back.
Yeah, exactly.
Wherever you're going.
Yeah. Didn't care. He just wanted to get into town to eat, to steal a dog.
Steal a dog and eat it, presumably. Yeah. Don't go for our episode on the bandage man. I don't know what the hell that's all about. So sometimes they go to the address to find that a girl many years ago matching that description once lived there. So I think the idea is, I think he actually explained it properly here. Yeah, but they'll go and sort of, get to a house and it'll be a grief-stricken mother and be like, oh, yes, my daughter died tragically in an accident like that 5 years ago or whatever it was.
Mm.
So now I was thinking about this.
Yeah.
So after 5 or 6 years of people come knocking on your door every February 26th asking, what's happened because they picked up somebody who then vanished back and thinking, oh, that's my dead daughter probably haunting the road.
Would you go and have a look?
You'd either go and have a look or you'd move, wouldn't you? Because I'd be a bit... Or maybe it's like February 26th, I'm not answering the door. Do you know what I mean? You're going to get upset yourself.
It's a tricky one. I mean, I would probably be out there driving around trying to find her if people were saying that. Like, even if I knew it was a ghost, still think, well, if people are seeing the ghost of my daughter, I wouldn't mind seeing her. Unless it's just like they're just really horrible people who live there.
Maybe we just didn't get on.
Oh no, they're really horrible people who live there who are like, like on the anniversary, let's go and knock on her door and torture her by saying that we picked up a daughter. I don't know. I think that's I mean, it's possible, but I think that's unlikely that, you might get one dickhead doing that, but I don't think you'd get.
Yeah, you'd hope not.
Yeah.
You'd hope not. So that's sort of... So
we don't know, do we? I mean, it could be that the house is on some, like it's the last plot to go on some land where they want to develop some condos or something. So it's actually sort of some kind of evil...
Just housing developers just trying to get them to move out.
Yeah. I think
your daughter's been haunting the road again.
Oh, fuck off. Well, I don't think that they'd say that. I think that they'd probably pretend that they'd actually seen it. But try and upset the person enough that they'd go. Try and get it at a song, build the condos, shut down the BMX track.
Yeah, sorry, we're going to have to give you half of what this place is worth because your daughter's been haunting around nearby. So
shut down the youth centre. Shut down the youth centre, which is all that the kids have got round there.
Well, that's fine. We'll just put on a show, Chris. Get everyone together.
Exactly.
I'm sure.
Electric
you
Boogaloo.
can sing. I can dance.
Yeah, I can break dance.
I'm sure little Jimmy's got a talent that people have paid to see.
He can rap.
Oh, brilliant! See, we put on a show. We can raise the money. We'll buy it ourselves.
Perfect.
We're doing a lot of stupid 80s cliche movie plot today for some reason. But anyway, so I hope you're as old as we are, so you can enjoy that.
Looking at the analytics, yes, people are.
Yeah, not a problem.
World's least surprise.
So let's have a look. So where do we get to? So the latest report was in 2013.
Okay.
Because people basically go around because this is
people would be trying to find it.
This is not like apparently a place where people want to go hitchhiking or sort of wandering around because it's like a bit like one of them David Lynch movies. It's like pitch black. There's not really good lighting, and it's quite a dangerous area to be sort of hanging about. And especially suppose with traffic. I mean, maybe in the 40s and 50s it wasn't so bad, but
Northern California is all kind of it's not like SoCal, like it's all kind of wooded and hills and that kind of stuff. Kind of it's getting into the Pacific Northwest, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean California's so huge, isn't it?
All right. Why don't you marry it?
Yeah, maybe I will.
Yeah, make sure that you give me an invite.
I'll get.
Can I have a +1?
I'll get Arnie to walk me down the aisle.
Can I have a +1? I'm bringing Utah.
Yeah, if you like.
Utah and its 8 wives.
We should keep the Mormons in check. Right.
People in something.
So.
Don't know what that means.
Just do a hey noise and there's a joke there somewhere. Just do the punchline yourself, everyone.
Yeah.
Right, anyway, so the latest report, 2013, Michael Tucker on Newport Beach, California, said that he saw a girl in a white prom dress walking alongside of the road. He slowed down his car to better look at her, and she turned around and gave him a sinister grin.
I'm not sure about this guy. Do you know what I mean?
Well, you don't know about his intent. I don't know how old he is either, to be honest with you. Doesn't say. I mean,
48-year-old slowed down his car to get a proper good look at her. Yeah.
They called her the prom dress hitchhiker because she did have a thumb out. Well, she was hitchhiker. I mean, you might.
He called her the prom dress ghost cocktease.
I mean, we don't know what Tucker's been up to, but yeah, that's.
I've already made my judgment.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. So her grin brought chills down his spine, but when he looked in the rearview mirror, she was gone, and that happened around the 9 p.m. in a
happens a lot to him, though, doesn't it? This.
Apparently, he was looking for a place to bury his dog named Marble.
Oh, fucking hell!
Yeah, Marble died of natural causes.
Do you think that he said that he had buried her, but he couldn't remember where when they found?
I'm sorry, I was looking for someone to bury my dog.
A bloody blanket and zip ties in his boot. That's my dog.
Was found in your boot. Oh, canine.
From a dog.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
So that's how the Costa Rican Times report that.
Well, this guy sounds like a wrong 'un, frankly.
Well, he was the latest sighting, but then there's another one on here. So I'm going to now go to the Tracy Press. I'm not quite sure where it's from, but I think there's a chap called Mike Chivers. And
it's in Northern California, don't they? They grow a lot of weed in Northern California as well, don't they? These days,
like tumbleweed.
No, like marijuana.
Oh, sorry, you mean like because it's legal, isn't it, in dispensaries and stuff? So
and
it's the medical marijuana, or whatever.
Well, I mean, you can
get a license to grow it, and you
it's not even just
sell it however you like.
Well, it's not medical anymore. You can just buy it.
I wasn't sure, but they changed the federal laws.
No, it's state by state.
No, but I do recall when they started doing that in one of the states, there was some federal police turned up or something.
So you can't. So it's still federally illegal, but the states have legalized it. So in California, it's legal. But the problem being, if you do grow it, then the money's the difficulty, because it's basically, it has to be a cash business because banks won't take the money because it's federally not legal yet. Yeah. So, but no, it is legal in like half the states now, I think, or like,
I know that. I know they did say
completely legal, not medical, completely. Yeah. So you or I could just go in and go, "Can I have some spliff?"
Fair enough. No. More enlightened view than our own country, where it's just like, let's just do a blanket law that makes anything that might reaction to you, make it
anything that might allow us to escape this fucking grey death rattle of our current government as they scrape the bottom of the barrel of whatever else that they can get out of the public finances and into their own pockets.
Yeah. Well, it's legalising the tax, that's what I say. But there you go.
Well, they're doing a massive blanket ban on laughing gas, aren't they? On
I'm surprised it's not covered, because I mean, Theresa May brought in that psychotropic drugs bill, which is pretty much, and they literally had to put an exemptions for like fucking tea and stuff like this because it was so broad.
Yeah.
I suppose. I mean, actually, probably what they're doing is just because they're probably an exemption on laughing gas because it's obviously used for. Well, I think it's anaesthesia, and I think the get around
it's used in cookery.
It's used for whipped cream, isn't it?
Yeah, it has uses.
Whipped cream, I think it's anyway, something like that. But I guess they're just going to try and ban the sale to individuals, aren't they? I mean, you do see a lot of those little silver things knotting around whenever there's a festival or kids have been out. But
whatever, I don't get. Just leave them to it.
Well, I would say youth from the UK, just like put them in a bin, Littering's not cool.
Yeah, then, hey, Neil, do you know what? It isn't cool.
You just give them an excuse. Anyway. But
I don't
know. They say this, like people are just doing it all the time. It can be pretty,
No, but do you know how much? Do you know how much you have to be doing, like for there to be side effects? It's like you have to be doing like 200 balloons of it a day for like several years for you to actually get any like bad medical side effects.
Okay.
So I mean, like it's an unbelievable. Like no one's doing that much. Like it's absolutely, it's fine. Like obviously it's annoying to in the middle class or whatever that young people have a bit of fun, but I don't know. Fuck the government.
Yeah. No, fair enough. I would just say Chuck it
But
in
anyway,
again,
yeah.
down
So
shut.
I'm wondering. So it's in an area with quite high instances of growing and taking marijuana. So that could have something to do with this guy killing his dog and trying to get off with a
And then
ghost.
seeing shit. Yeah. Oh no,
Yeah.
it was that ghost I saw. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't harassing random girls on the highway.
A preteen.
Right. So, and this is one where somebody's actually got personal investment. So this is written by Mike Chivers, though, the Tracy Press. It, again, doesn't allude to any kind of like psychotropics or anything else. But over in Niles Canyon, where my family comes from, there's a legend of a ghost girl who walks the canyon road every February 28th. Oh, he says February 28th as well. There seem to be disagreements between whether it's the February 26th or February the 28th. Almost makes you think this whole thing is made up, doesn't it? But anyway, they're looking to hitchhike a ride into San Francisco.
Does it depend if it's a leap year?
I mean, see, that would be good if it was on like the 29th, because then she'd just come every leap year. So, you know, you'd only go every 4 years to Spa. But I don't know. The story that shows up in the Tri-Valley Herald every 3 years credits Billy Rose, a close friend of our family's, who had an actual encounter with the ghost. Right. Apparently, more than a few years ago, Billy and a friend, not knowing the legend, saw a girl in white trying to hitch a ride. According to their story, they let her in and she insisted on riding in the back seat, giving them directions to an address in San Francisco. Along the way, the girl was very quiet and resisted Billy's and his companions' attempts to draw her into small talk. And I've noticed you're not slagging off Billy Rose here, Chris, but...
Well, I mean, for obvious reasons now.
Yeah.
It's clearly, if you can't tell the difference of which is nefarious and which isn't.
No, fair days. So there's two of them.
That says more about you than me.
Let her hitch a ride. So come to story, let her in, and she insisted on riding in the back seat. Well, that's normally where you would as a hitchhiker, isn't it? Giving them directions to an address in San Francisco. Along the way, the girl was very quiet and resisted Billy and his companions' attempts to draw into small talk.
Take me to the Castrol.
Do you reckon, like with ghosts, just like it's a lot of energy having to? I mean, I know that she seems to be corporeal here.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So to take on a corporeal form is quite a lot of energy. And to be honest, I don't have to expend energy to become corporeal. And I still find small talk quite exhausting.
Yeah, it's quite, I mean, maybe ghosts are introverts. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't think you had anything to say on that. So when they reached the Dumbarton Bridge, they handed the tollkeeper 15 cents, the toll being 5 cents for each passenger. When the tollkeeper handed a nickel back to Billy, he turned to put it on the passenger in the back, only to find the back seat empty.
Oh, so she'd hidden so she wouldn't have to pay the toll.
Yeah, clever girl.
Clever girl.
Curious, Billy and his friend drive on to the address in San Francisco. When they knock on the door, the woman who answers tells them, "That was my daughter. She was on her way back from a dance 20 years ago when her car ran off the road in Niles Canyon." So there you go. That's allegedly what happened.
So when's this one from?
So this one is coming from 2007.
So her daughter was in 1987. She went to a dance out in the middle of nowhere when she lived in San Francisco.
Well, this thing is
quite a lot of dances in San Francisco, I would have thought.
the first thing seemed to
from the 40s.
The late 40s, because it first got publicised in the 50s. So maybe this was in the 70s when that happened, and this guy's reporting back for something that happened years ago. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Well, actually, yeah, because he tells another story that comes from, I think, from the 50s. So a few years ago, I wrote a column about another appearance of the ghost girl that I tell my first graders about. This one is about some people who drove into Tunnel claiming they'd seen the ghost girl.
Did you be telling your first graders about this? About ghosts?
I mean, how old are you? First grade, what were they, like 6 or something like that? So
5 or 6, yeah.
5 or 6. So might as well, haven't you? I mean, they're just probably doing crayons and clay and stuff. I mean, you're teaching them to read and that, aren't you? But you're probably still pretending that Santa Claus is real, so you might as well teach them about ghosts.
Yeah, you might as well get them thinking about death nice and early.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember having my first existential crisis about death at the age of 13, which is actually quite young. But at 6, I think it's probably even, maybe that's too young.
I don't know. I do have a memory of, like, I would have been probably about that age when I sort of went to bed crying because I just realised my parents were going to die someday.
Well, but that's because you'd put out a hit on them, to be fair.
Well, yeah.
So a lot of it was kind of guilt, wasn't it?
I think it was, yeah.
And also you realised that you didn't have enough money to pay the hitman, so a lot of it was fear as well.
Well, that's why I had to start that hedge fund. And it went a lot better than I realised. So,
Yeah.
That was amazing in many ways.
You paid for a hit on the hitman before he could do his hit.
Well,
beautiful dog eat dog, isn't it?
Live by the sword, die by the sword.
Exactly.
And then, of course, you've got to put a hit out on the other hitman.
Yeah, keep them quiet.
And it gets a bit chaotic in the end, but yeah.
Yeah, and then until you killed that final hitman with a drone.
Yes, targeted drone strike.
Yeah.
Thus the loop is closed.
Yeah. You buried every part of the drone on each continent, didn't you?
Yeah.
Good.
No one will ever know. Oh yes. So they've gone into the town claiming they've seen a ghost girl walking across the bridge trestle. So at this point, obviously, the sheriff goes out to investigate with his guy.
Well, this sounds like a job for the sheriff.
I mean, I don't know. Does the police normally do ghost busting?
Let me get my. Okay, I understand. You sit here. Let me get my proton pack.
Well, you'd think, wouldn't you?
I don't know. I mean, if someone was distressed, I guess you'd go and have a look, because they might, if they went, oh, I've seen a ghost girl, you might go, oh, okay, I'll go and check, just in case it's like, I don't know, like a vagrant, like Rambo, maybe, because I think that's the kind of area which First Blood was probably set, isn't it?
Yeah, no, that's true.
Could be Rambo in a dress, couldn't it?
Well,
I'm going to run this. I'm going to run this ghost out of town. Yeah. Well, we thank you for your service, but we don't have vagrants in this town, Mr. Ghost Girl.
Well, this is the thing, because I mean, how do you think they deal with the ghost side thing?
How do I think? What? Who deals with it? Rambo.
No. These police officers,
the
sheriff and his deputy.
What? So how do they deal with it? I would imagine that they would have set up a 4-mile cordon and called in SWAT. Is that what they did? And a priest. The SWAT priests.
So,
the secret the secret Catholic SWAT priests?
Yeah.
Which come in to deal with ghosts or
they have the special bullets filled with holy water.
That's
what they put into their MP5s. Yeah.
Yeah.
Being Catholic, I know about this. You've got to have the holy water blessed in you. Bit like that. Those terrible vampire movies with Kate Beckinsale.
Yeah,
the bullet filled with light or something.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Got
somebody's done that before. A holy water bullet. That's in some movie somewhere.
They've got like big army knives, like Commando, but the wooden handles actually forged out of a piece of the
true cross.
Part of the true cross. And their bulletproof vests are actually made up of relics, like bones of different saints.
Finger bones of different saints. Absolutely.
Yeah. That's the Catholic SWAT team. So that's what they did. Yeah, they set up a cordon called the Catholic SWAT.
They didn't wait for the Catholic SWAT team, so I'm going to flip between.
I'll tell you what. I mean, I don't blame them, because the Catholic SWAT team helicopter, where the helicopter blades are actually in the shape of a cross, is very difficult to fly. It takes ages to get anywhere. You're constantly having to recalculate, because obviously it doesn't work.
Absolutely. And this happening apparently is in 1950. So February the 26th, 1950, because apparently the accident had happened 12 years earlier. So I'm just picking out some details from another article in the East Bay Times.
That was quite soon. That was quite soon after John Paul II had actually set it up, isn't it? So maybe they weren't global at that point. No,
that's true. They probably weren't doing international exorcisms at that point. Well, they had to clear out all the ones haunting the Vatican, don't they? The Medicis and all that.
Yeah, and then the rest of Italy.
Cleansing. Yeah.
Yeah.
to get their house in order before they can start going and
Yeah, it's good, but
sorting out the rest.
To be fair, it's the right way to do it.
Yeah,
build off a solid foundation.
Exactly. So I'm going to go with just for this, just a quote from the East Bay Times because I quite like the way that they put this. So
okay.
One of the cars turned out to be the Alameda County Sheriff deputy who hit the brakes and came out shooting.
What? I don't understand what's happening.
I'll go back to Treasures. So basically, there's been a sighting of a guy.
Yes.
They've hightailed it down there in a car and just started firing bullets
into the void.
Yeah. Well,
okay.
So what it turns out is
maybe should have waited for the Catholics.
No, what it turns out is that they sort of turn up and it's apparently some prankster who's put on a white sheet pretending to be a ghost.
Not so funny now. He's got 150 bullets in him, is it?
I think these days he's probably. I suppose the one thing for me is would you? I mean, is that standard operating procedure for ghosts? Because you would think that again, if the bullets aren't filled with holy water, is it going to? Although who knows?
Yeah,
give it a try. Give it a try and see how it works out.
Yeah.
They call Catholic SWAT team a backup if normal bullets won't work.
So
in actual fact, I think they realised that this was some prankster, so they told the ghost to come down.
when the MD informs them.
Well, in fairness to the way he tells us in the Tragedy Press, I just like the way that they put it in that other article. They came out shooting, but according to this one, it said after telling the ghost to come down, he fired 2 warning shots in the air.
Oh, okay.
And at that point, the ghost girl dropped on the tracks, calling, "Don't shoot me, I'm coming down."
Right. Okay, so it's one of those public bridge kind of railway bridges, trestle bridges.
Again, this is a bit like the Popelik monster. So don't play around on train trestles, kids. It's dangerous. But even if you want to imitate a ghost, for a bit of a laugh. So it turns out the one in the this one in the 50s. I mean, this was after the sightings had already happened, but they decided to sort of dress up and do it as a bit of a spoof. And
it's probably hepped up. Probably hepped up on goofballs, isn't they?
Probably.
Tell you what,
marijuana joint and gone mad.
Tell you what will sort him out. Little trip to Vietnam.
Yeah. Korea probably in those.
Korea, yeah.
When that start, the 50s. I mean, I'm not quite sure when that actually kicked off, but
it's the forgotten war, Neil. That's why.
Yeah. So apparently, the second story really happened, and this chap's saying he knows that the people had thought they were really seeing a real ghost. And apparently it was just a guy in a sheet. So probably
Yeah.
And
simpler times.
And he knows that the story of the prank is true because the ghost girl was his Uncle Clarence. Clarence Chivers.
The ghost girl was his Uncle Clarence. God, this is
no. The guy doing the prank,
right,
to scare the townspeople. So there's already rumours in the 50s about there's the ghost girl haunting the highway, and then some. I mean, I assume they're teenagers at this point. They decide to sort of dress up as a ghost and haunt the thing just for a laugh. In the spirit of the story.
Yeah. So what's Uncle Clarence got to do with anything?
He's the one who dressed up as a ghost.
So the person telling this story is saying that he knows that it was
actually his uncle who was the one.
Right.
So there's this urban legend. They heard
I get it now.
Decided to dress up as and scare some kids. Nearly got themselves shot by a cop. And then he just bangs on about his uncle being a good lad.
Right.
So on and so forth.
I mean, all remember the KKK.
Well, yeah, I mean, you do wonder, had some sort of white sheets knocking around what was going on.
Fitted white sheet.
He was tough as nails and loving as a mother hen, apparently.
What?
And this guy points out, apparently he's 6'8" and 250 pounds. But anyway.
Right. My uncle could beat up your uncle, kind of thing.
Well, no, he said, even though I was 6'8", 250 pounds, and towered over him, he called me baby. He made me believe it.
So this guy's showing off about his size.
Exactly. Yeah, he's I'm a big lad, but
I'm single, by the way.
yeah. But my uncle was, he was tough as nails, and even though I'm huge, he made me. That's pretty big. I don't know when this guy was born, but if his uncle was doing that in the 50s, and they've got 6'8", that's pretty tall.
But his uncle's not six. But his uncle's not 6'8". The guy's
no. He was a lot smaller, but he made him, because he was so authoritative, he made him feel more like a kid, even though he was huge.
Yeah, but I mean, he was born in the 70s or something,
like
maybe.
Chivers.
So
yeah, I suppose. I'm just trying to see if there's any other.
I'll be honest, like that, you made that story more confusing than it needed to be.
Fair enough. No, I just quite like the kind of like details of the sort of the guy going out and doing the prank, and the and making it sound, even though it probably wasn't the case, that the policeman's first thing or the sheriff's first instincts was just trying to start shooting at ghosts.
I mean, yeah, more so these days, I would say.
I would imagine, yeah, that seems to be sort of standard procedure, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, the standard procedure now, which changed in American policing, is that your primary responsibility is for your own safety, not for the safety of the public. So, therefore, if you feel threatened, then anything goes, really.
Yeah.
Wrong way around.
Yeah, it always looked to de-escalate. Probably better, really. But anyway, I won't get into too much more of that. It's obviously a lot of, depressing real world stories.
There's other podcasts that talk about this.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We'll try and move on to something a bit more level. So, yeah, I don't think there's too much more to say on this one, Chris. I'm just having a look through the East Bay Times article to see if there's, that other one just basically then goes on about his uncle.
I'd like to draw attention to the fact that I'm drinking some bottled water now. From so it's San Pellegrino, the really nice bottled water from Italy.
Yeah,
I'm drinking a version, a sort of knockoff version of it from the supermarket Lidl, and it's called San Celestino, which I believe means Saint Starboy. So and it's very nice, 50p a bottle.
Oh, sounds like something that David Bowie had endorsed.
San Celestino.
Maybe
come down from your mountain.
Make us all boogie.
Your water's refreshing me.
If you blow my mind, you can refresh me with some sparkling water.
San Celestino, drank by David Bowie.
I think I should try leaning into that. And in the advertising, they almost invariably don't do.
I don't. Well, most stuff in Lidl, they don't do a lot of advertising, do they?
No. Well, I think isn't their whole thing, and they just buy up in stock whatever's cheapest and then sell it all as like they never do. I haven't shopped too often in Lidl or Aldi, but
you tend to get stuff from the continent. It's non-branded stuff.
They don't do like 50 different types of like whatever product. It's just there's one, and it's just the good quality but the cheapest one, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, I will wrap up.
And it just on the sign outside, it just has the kind of catchphrase of the supermarket is "Eat it," and it's got like that Italian hand emoji with the sort of pinching the fingers together.
Good enough for me, good enough for you, fucker.
Yeah, exactly.
As they say in Germany,
beggars can't be choosers, as they say in Spain. Right. So, have you got any more now?
I'm just going to wrap up with this paragraph. So
better be good.
I'm not sure what that's going to be, but
putting a lot of pressure on you.
The arresting deputies were W.R. Rose and E.B. Pavon, and the last paragraph of the report was as follows. The entire community of Niles showed quite a good deal of concern over this old adage of a ghost in Niles Canyon on this date, to the extent that several of the females who lived in the Sunol stated they drove home during this time via either Dublin Road, US 50, or went around through the old Mission Grade Road. And he concluded their report by stating in all capital letters, "The ghost no longer walks."
Oh.
And the report was picked up by the Bay Area newspapers, and consequently the wire services. One was headline, "Shivers shake, the sheriff shoots."
But there's been sightings after this, hasn't there? So
yeah, well, there was one
recently.
Yeah, there was
By
that
the
one.
dog guy.
Yeah, the dog guy in
Dog
2013,
months.
apparently. So they're still they're still they're still claiming. Yeah, so this was just a prank that happened in the 50s. I just thought that was
Very
another
nice.
nice little addition to share with the audience as well.
Lovely. So,
But doesn't make the urban legend any less true, Chris. Just because some pranks, just fun to use it.
Well, that's not for you to decide now. To be honest.
Well, no, it may be true. It may not be true. As I told you the other day, as spoke, I've signed up for my 6 month Discovery Plus, so I'll see if I can find any more vanishing hitchhiker tales on that I can share with the audience.
Don't try and tell me what to do. Don't you try and get into my head. You might not like what you find, eh?
Hannibal Lecter.
Little warning for Scottish Hannibal Lecter. Little warning for you, eh? Okay, so let's do our scoring, shall we?
Why not?
So, spookiness, Neil. Wipe the tears from your eyes and tell us no lies.
Yeah, I mean, it rhymed. It must be good. So it's I suppose a ghost is slightly spooky, especially given it's been hanging around for it's probably 70 odd years now. What do they want? I think there is something with ghosts where it's just you wouldn't like to think that you'd end up getting stuck in an afterlife just hanging around sort of like railway sidings on some lonely road asking for hitchhikers.
Speak for yourself.
You up. Yeah, no, that might be your ideal vision of eternity. I don't know, but I just think there's something about ghosts in particular. I mean, it's not like massively spooky, this one, but there's just something about sort of ghosts where, especially sad ghosts, that you kind of think there's unfinished business and all that, and you wouldn't want to think about that part of your afterlife. So I'm going to give it a 5.
5
on that basis.
Okay. So I think so because I feel, and it could just be because I've made up a load of stuff. I feel like I've heard this story. It feels quite a familiar story to me.
It's a kind of trope, isn't it? The vanishing hitchhiker,
which makes it less spooky. And also the fact that the ghost doesn't do anything bad. It doesn't even try and scare anyone, really, apart from it scared that weird guy.
Dog man got a sinister grin. That was
whatever. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like that happens whenever you buy anything.
Probably looking in the mirror.
Yeah, exactly. Didn't like what he saw. Not surprised. So, I mean, the ghost doesn't actually do anything. It's kind of more sad than spooky, really. And also, like, I've always had this thing with ghosts that if they're malign or whatever, or they kind of don't do anything, sort of good on the good side, it does mean that there's something after death, and that's always something which I'd quite like to know. So I'm going to give it a 3 now. I don't find it very spooky.
No, fair enough.
Believability. So it's a bit muddled because obviously the people thought they did see it, and it was that guy's uncle on his way to a clown rally. So they definitely believe what they saw, but it sounds like there was something there before that. I think it's just an urban legend. Yeah. I don't think that there's nothing to say that someone was actually hit by a car in the papers or anything sort of around that time, and there's no
all of the actual details of the original incident are very, this is supposed to have happened. And that, there's no actual fact.
Yeah, and there would be a record of someone getting mowed down by a car in a small town. Do you know what I mean? It would have made the news. So I think this is pure urban legend. I don't think any of it existed. So my believability is very low on this. I'm going to give it a 3 purely because I think that some people believe they probably saw something, but that's obviously someone doing a trick or because it was something they'd heard of. Neil?
Yeah, pretty similar. I think it is pure urban legend as well, or possibly just made up in the kind of like whenever it was. Again, it's got all the classic hallmarks where it's vague references to people who've knocked on the mother's door and stuff like this. The date changes slightly. Some of the details change slightly depending on who it is you hear it from. And there's never any specific people that are referenced other than kind of like some of the later ones. But having said that, the fact that it's still knocking around and, they were able to do a prank that got people convinced there might have been a ghost there. There was some level of believability, so I'm going to give it a 4.
4. Okay, cool. Narrative premise, Neil.
Yeah, I mean, I always think that kind of like you could probably turn this into a. I don't know how you'd like do the twist, because it'd probably be a bit obvious, wouldn't it? You'd have to do something like the mother was a ghost as well all along, or something like that at the end.
Everyone's a ghost. Everyone's a ghost.
Wasn't there some one of those terrible TV shows and you said that was the I can't remember what it was. I can't remember what it was called now. Is it American Ghost Story or Horror Story or something like that? I remember you telling me it's like maybe I'm misremembering this, Chris, but I seem to remember you telling me that, or maybe someone else told me, but I thought it was you, that you watched one of those things, and it turned out at the end that the twist was that everyone was the ghost.
Yeah, it could be. I never really watched it. I only caught a couple of things, but my ex watched them all, so I kind of only caught. I thought it was quite stupid, so I kind of went off and did my own thing. Yeah,
I think I tried to watch one of them, and it wasn't my cup of tea, truth be told. But yeah. Anyway, that'd be one of those stupid.
Everyone's a ghost, and then you find out that it's actually all a dream, but it's also everyone being a ghost and it being a dream was actually a dream that a ghost was having.
Yeah, that sounds insanely stupid. Well, the problem is now, this is.
I'm not saying that that's what American Horror Story did. I'm pitching that.
Yeah, no, why not? I mean, this is the thing now, because I think everyone's just trying to get too clever with their twists, and it's just get stupider and stupider. But anyway,
I would argue with being more clever.
Well, sorry, let me put that another way.
More convoluted.
Yeah, it's just like, how can you trick an audience? Because the thing is, even if you make it so that only 1 in 1,000 can guess the twist, like that person will then, somebody will be obsessed enough with this to actually figure it out and sort of get it all over the internet, and everyone,
it's all
Reddit figured it all out halfway through the series. Do you know what I mean?
You think that it's the Earth, but actually it's people like micro people living on an atom which is in a dog's eye.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing, when Lost was on and it was in the middle and everyone was all like, what the fuck's going on? And there were some really, really clever theories about time travel and stuff like this. And if I was J.J. Abrams, I would have got them to the writers and gone, yeah, just nick that.
Yeah.
Because, not many people are going to have figured that one out. And actually, it looked like a pretty good explanation. There was somebody had figured out some kind of hard sort of, or well, not hard, time travel is debatable whether it can actually happen. Some will say it can, some will say it can't. But they'd actually managed to figure out something where it at least made sense within sort of, anyway. I think that's what I do with one of those mystery box things.
I think that I can speak for the listeners when I say I feel like you're dancing around the issue of the narrative premise.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I was just thinking as I was saying that, I'm kind of spending a long time saying nothing here, aren't I? So,
a number's fine.
Yeah, so let's call it. Yeah, let's call it another nice round 5 then.
5.
Not loads to it, but
Yeah. So I'm going to go a bit lower, I'm afraid, just because I've heard, it's another.
Yeah, it's another familiar one, I guess.
It's very familiar to me. There's not much to it. It doesn't explain. There's no backstory as to why they're walking along in a prom dress or anything, apart from which I developed, which I've copywritten. Yeah, I don't know. There's just not a huge amount to it, really. So I mean, and it's not very original. I'm going to go 2 now. I'm afraid.
No, fair enough. Hey, it's not. It's not my urban legend. Well,
I mean, it sort of is.
I brought it along. I didn't make it up.
Well, I think that you did, and you're seeing how it plays out. And
I might be related to Mr. Chibbers. I might not.
it's not going well. Reach. So I've not heard of it. I've heard of similar. It sounds like it's been around since the 50s, so it's got a bit of reach through time. But I don't know how big it is. I mean, you haven't mentioned that it's in any books or anything. It seems to be on websites and stuff, and kind of a local one. So again, it's going to be quite low for me. So I'm going to give it, just because I'm feeling generous, a 3. Now,
fair enough. I think I might have seen something about there has been some telling the story or something, but yeah, it's not been on Supernatural, which is our litmus test.
It's your litmus test.
As far as I know. Yeah, well, you were the one who kept bringing it up, so that's become my litmus test. Or as far as I know, it might have been, but I can't bother looking at it.
Whole of series 17 is about this.
Yeah. Somebody finally gets angry enough to email in, and it's just about, you got the Supernatural bit wrong. I was really enjoying it up till then. Then you fucked it up. I don't really care.
Not true.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't think this one's got a lot of reach, to be honest with you, either. So I'll give it a 3.
3. Okay, and that gets an overall score of a fairly low 28. So what we will say is the admin bit. Can email us at earth.legends.podcast@gmail.com. If you've got anything you want us to have a look at, or you've got anything that you feel you must express. Otherwise, do some subscribe and likes and whatever if you can be bothered. But beyond that, I hope you have a nice week. And I don't really have any final thoughts. Neil, you?
No, not really. Yeah,
I'm going to get back to my David Bowie San Celestino drinks this Sunday. I'm going to spend drinking water. All right.
Very nice.
Very nice indeed. I'll speak to you all next week. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Antenna. Server. USB. Wi-Fi. Chip and pin. Mini